Have you ever felt strange in places where no one else seems to notice anything? Have you ever had the sensation that the environment is heavy, even when everything is apparently normal? Or then woke up in the middle of the night without explanation, with the feeling that something was happening in the invisible? If so, it may be that you are among those who carry a spiritual gift, something that is not learned but awakened. There are people who have a different sensitivity. They pick up what is beyond sight, feel what is not said, perceive what goes unnoticed. They are the so-called chosen ones, not because they are better, but because they were designated to see and feel what many still ignore. In this video, I want to share with you 7 strange things that affect those who have this gift. Things that many people do not understand, that even scare at first, but that are actually signs that you have something greater inside you. If any of these things have already happened to you, it is because your spirit is already being activated. My name is George, and this channel is a space for those who feel differently, for those who hear what others do not hear, and know deep down that there is something greater calling. Now subscribe here to the channel, not out of obligation, but because perhaps this is the place where you will finally feel at home. Sensitivity to heavy environments. Some people walk into a place and immediately feel a weight in the air. Nothing was said, nothing happened, but the heart tightens, the body responds, the soul shrinks. If this has ever happened to you, know that it is not exaggeration or being overly sensitive. It is spiritual sensitivity, a deep perception of what lies behind what is visible. The chosen ones have this heightened ability. They do not just see people, they feel their energies. An environment where everyone is smiling may seem light to many, but the chosen one perceives what is being hidden: pain, falsehood, envy, anger. And all of this directly impacts their emotional and physical state. You may even walk into a place feeling excited, but suddenly feel tired, irritated, or disconnected. This does not happen by chance. It is your soul picking up the spiritual field of that environment. Like a radar, your spirit identifies what is misaligned, even if your mind tries to rationalize and ignore the discomfort. That is why the chosen ones often prefer to be alone. They avoid very crowded, agitated, or purposeless places. It is not fussiness. It is protection. They know even without fully understanding that certain places drain their energy. And when they insist on staying in these environments, they return home drained, exhausted, and often sad. This sensitivity is not a problem. It is a tool. When used with wisdom, it helps make more aligned decisions, avoids dangerous situations, and keeps negative people away. The great challenge is to trust this perception, even when no one else understands. The chosen one needs to learn to honor what they feel, even if they cannot explain it. Heavy environments are not just ugly or dark places. Sometimes they are luxurious homes, well-decorated companies, happy social gatherings. But behind the shine there is oppression, pride, malice. And the chosen one feels all this as an internal alert. It is as if heaven were saying, "This place is not for you." Protect your energy. The presence of the chosen one also bothers in these environments. Without saying anything, their light exposes shadows. Negative people get irritated, feel discomfort, try to belittle or push the chosen one away. This is common, and many still do not understand why they do not fit in places where everyone seems fine. The truth is, it is not you. It is the environment. The good news is that this sensitivity can be refined and used as guidance. Over time, you learn to recognize good environments, clean energies, places that recharge your soul, and you start to choose better who you walk with, where you enter, and even what you watch or consume. All of this affects your vibration. If you have ever arrived at a place and felt like leaving for no apparent reason, that was your spirit protecting you. If after leaving a place you felt light, it was because something inside was holding you back. Learn to respect these signs. They are a blessing. They save you without you realizing it. And remember, not every place is for you. Your presence is sacred. You are not called to adapt to any energy. You were set apart to transform environments, but also to know when to leave. Honor your sensitivity. It is one of the first signs that you are a chosen one. Intense emotions that few understand. Have you ever been moved by things that no one around you seems to notice? Felt like crying during a song, a prayer, or even in silence, without knowing why? Have you ever had that deep shiver in the face of a spiritual situation? If so, perhaps you are one of those people with a more awakened soul, a chosen one. The chosen ones do not live superficially. They feel everything deeply. When they love with their whole heart. When they connect with something spiritual, they feel it in their body. When they witness suffering, even from a distance, something inside them moves. They carry an uncommon empathy, an emotion that pulses within. These emotions are not weakness. They are sensors of the soul. The chosen one feels what many ignore. They cry for no apparent reason. They smile at a simple prayer. They are touched by small gestures. This happens because their soul is already attuned to the spiritual, and therefore everything that touches the invisible also touches their heart. Sometimes not even they can explain it. It may be in a service, in a moment of reading, or simply seeing someone overcome a pain. The heart races, the eyes fill with tears, the skin gets goosebumps. The chosen one knows that this is not just ordinary emotion. It is their spirit reacting to the spiritual world. Many learn to hide this, afraid of seeming fragile, exaggerated, or too sensitive. But repressing this is denying your own essence. Deep emotions are part of the journey of those who carry a gift, because only those who were born to transform feel so strongly. Only those who were called to heal are moved like this. Some do not shed a tear, but inside them the impact is immense. They feel as if a greater force were touching their heart, and most of the time, that is exactly what it is. The spirit is present. The vibration of heaven touches the vibration of the soul, and emotion becomes a language between the divine and the human. Waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. The time when heaven calls. If you frequently wake up between 3 and 5 in the morning, without an alarm, for no apparent reason, know this. It may be a spiritual sign. It is not just insomnia. It is not just anxiety. Many chosen ones report that their deepest awakenings began at this time. It is as if heaven were calling you to talk when everything is silent. This stretch of the early morning is known in many traditions as the spiritual hour. It is the moment when most people are sleeping, the physical world is on pause, and the spiritual world is more active. Those who are sensitive feel this in the body. The spirit awakens even when the body still wanted to rest. You may wake up with your heart racing, with a strange sensation, with a desire to pray, or simply with your mind full of ideas. Sometimes it feels like there is a presence in the room. Other times, it feels like someone woke you without touching you. These signs should not be ignored. They are spiritual invitations. Many prophets, intercessors, and people with spiritual gifts report that their greatest experiences with God happened at this time. Vivid dreams, revelations, messages, inexplicable tears. This happens because the spirit is more sensitive, and God, knowing this, uses this silent space to reveal himself to his chosen ones more clearly. Waking up at this time repeatedly may indicate that something needs your spiritual attention. Perhaps a prayer that needs to be made, a weight that needs to be surrendered, a direction that will only be perceived when everything around is silent. It is at this time that the spirit connects more easily to the source. If you wake at this time and go back to sleep without understanding the reason, start changing that. Get up. Spend a few minutes in silence. Say a simple prayer. Write down what you are feeling. Many times, it is in these small gestures that you open the doors to receive great revelations. Heaven is speaking. It just needs an awakened heart. Some people find this pattern strange. They feel tired or even scared. But the more you understand its purpose, the lighter it becomes. The body adapts and the spirit strengthens. You begin to recognize that you are being trained for something greater. And the training begins in the dark, while everyone is still asleep. This awakening can also be a form of protection. In moments of spiritual warfare, your spirit moves before the attack. You wake to pray, to align, to take your stand. That is why the enemy hates when a chosen one awakens at dawn, because he knows that at that moment, you are more sensitive to the voice of God. If this has been happening to you, receive it with gratitude. Do not fight it. Use this time as a gift. The early morning is silent, but full of messages. And perhaps, between 3 and 5 a.m., God is saying things that during the day, with so much noise, you would not be able to hear. So next time you wake up at this time, do not think, "Why did I wake up now?" But rather, "What does heaven want to tell me?" This simple change in posture can open doors you never imagined and remind you once again that yes, you are a chosen one. Noticing changes in the environment when someone enters, the chosen one's invisible radar. You know when you are in a calm environment and suddenly you feel that something changed without anyone saying anything. Sometimes, it only takes one person entering the place for the air to seem heavier, more restless, as if the energy had been touched. If this has happened to you, it is because you carry an active spiritual radar. People with a spiritual gift do not just feel environments. They perceive subtle changes when something or someone unbalanced arrives. The chosen one does not need to hear the voice, know the name, or have information. Their spirit picks up the energy of the presence. And if it is something negative, the discomfort appears immediately in the body or emotions. It may be a sudden restlessness, a tightness in the chest, a sense of alert, or simply the perception that something entered. This perception is a form of spiritual discernment. It is God showing that there is something there that needs to be identified, confronted, or avoided. It will not always be something evil, but certainly something that needs attention. This gift is valuable, but often misunderstood. When the chosen one shares these sensations, they may be seen as too sensitive, dramatic, or even paranoid. But the truth is that this sensitivity is a spiritual defense. It protects the chosen one from snares, manipulations, and attacks disguised as smiles. The spiritual environment changes with people's presence. Each one carries a frequency, and when someone with heavy energy enters a light space, everything transforms. The chosen one feels this immediately. The body becomes restless, the mind scattered, and the spirit alert. It is as if something were saying, "Stay alert, this presence is not neutral." But the opposite is also true. The chosen one also feels when someone with light enters. The environment is elevated, peace settles in, and there is a sense of safety. This shows that your spiritual radar serves not only for protection, but also for recognizing true alliances and soul connections. Over time, the chosen one learns to trust this perception. They stop seeking rational explanations for what has already been clearly felt. And this discernment becomes a compass, showing who to walk with, where to enter, what to accept, and above all, what to avoid. This is more than intuition. It is spiritual direction. This ability also serves for intercession. Upon feeling the change in the environment, the Chosen One prays, declares, spiritually cleans the space. In silence, they assume their role as watchmen. While others only perceive the physical, they act in the invisible. This transforms environments, restores homes, protects people. If you feel when the environment changes, know this: it is a gift. Do not ignore it. Do not hide it. Learn to use it with spiritual maturity. You were enabled to perceive before others see. This is part of your mission. God gave you this sensitivity to protect and transform. And in the end, what seems strange to many is one of the greatest signs that you have a calling. The perception of the invisible is what separates those who merely observe from those who were chosen to act. If this happens to you, celebrate, because it is further proof that you are a chosen one. Very imaginative mind. When God plants ideas before revealing the path, have you ever caught yourself overthinking? With your mind full of ideas, stories, possibilities, even when you do not want to. If you feel that your head does not stop, even in moments of rest, this may be a spiritual sign. The chosen ones tend to have a more active mind because they carry revelations not yet understood. This intense imagination is not always well understood. Some think it is anxiety. Others say it is distraction. But for those with a spiritual gift, this creative mind is in fact a way for God to plant seeds. They are thoughts, visions, and inspirations that have not yet become reality, but have already been born in the spirit. Often they are ideas that come with force, as if they needed to come out. They can be dreams, projects, words, plans. The chosen one does not yet even understand the purpose, but feels that it is not just daydreaming. It is as if something were being gestated within the soul. It is the beginning of a calling, taking shape. This creative thinking can also manifest as internal scenarios, imagining conversations, creating solutions to problems, thinking about the future in detail. All of this, when balanced, is not an escape from reality. It is preparation. The mind of the chosen one anticipates what is to come. It creates space for what God will still accomplish. In fact, many inventors, artists, and spiritual leaders report having hyperactive minds. This happens because their spirit is always receiving signals, downloads, ideas. The mind is stirred because something is being released from heaven. And when the chosen one understands this, they stop fighting it and begin to use it in favor of the purpose. Another clue that these thoughts are spiritual is their quality. They are generally good, useful, creative ideas that involve helping people, creating something meaningful, improving the world around you. This shows that they are not just ordinary thoughts. They are visions of the future, prophetic seeds for those who are being called to lead. Many chosen ones do not yet know their life's purpose, and that is why the restless mind happens. God begins to plant in the spirit what will be revealed clearly down the road. The soul feels the movement, but the path is not yet visible. Thinking a lot is a sign that the plan has already begun. If this happens to you, do not criticize yourself. Write down your ideas. Value your thoughts. Pray over them, because many of them are clues. They are pieces of the puzzle that God will assemble throughout your journey. You think a lot because you carry much to deliver, and that is yet another sign that you are a chosen one. Feeling out of place, the soul that does not fit where it does not belong. Have you ever been in a place full of people, but felt alone? Have you ever laughed out of politeness, but deep down you knew it was not your environment? If you often feel out of place, as if you do not belong, know this: This is one of the strongest signs of the Chosen One's calling. The Chosen Ones carry a different frequency. They see life differently, feel more, question more, perceive what others ignore. Therefore, shallow environments, superficial conversations, and forced relationships tire them. It is not arrogance, it is spiritual incompatibility. The soul does not connect where there is no purpose. From an early age, many chosen ones realize they are different. While others adapt easily, they feel they need to hide to fit. But a moment comes when that is no longer possible. The soul begins to scream, and the discomfort becomes an invitation to leave where one does not belong. The loneliness of the chosen one is often strategic. It is in isolation that they listen more clearly, mature, find direction. And when the time comes to connect with those who vibrate at the same frequency, everything will make sense. Even the pain of not belonging will seem part of the plan. Those who have a strong calling usually go through this disconnection with the world. But that does not mean it is wrong. It means it is being prepared. The chosen one needs to learn to stand in the invisible before influencing the visible. They need to be strengthened in God before being sent, and gradually they find their kind. People with similar souls, similar pains, the same searches. When this happens, the feeling of being out transforms into a new home. It is the spiritual tribe forming, the place of belonging that does not come from the world, but from purpose. Therefore, if you feel different, strange, or out of place, be grateful. It is not rejection. It is selection. God is positioning you for something greater. Your frequency will only be understood by those who were also called. And this alignment happens at the right time, when you are ready to fulfill what you were born to do. Do not try to fit by force. Your soul was not created to mold, but to expand. The world needs your difference. And today's discomfort is the preparation for tomorrow's mission. If you feel this, do not doubt. It is another sign that you are a chosen one. Suffering interferences whenever you try to connect with the spiritual. Have you ever tried to pray, seek God, study something spiritual, and suddenly the phone rang, the internet went down, sleep came, or something inexplicable distracted you? If this happens frequently, understand, it is not a coincidence. It is interference. And this mainly affects those who carry a calling, the chosen ones. Every time the chosen one tries to align with the spiritual, something tries to stop it. It may be noise, distractions, unexpected visits, or even random thoughts. This happens because the enemy knows that when the chosen one connects, the spiritual world moves, and he does everything to delay it. These interferences may seem small, but accumulated, they discourage. Little by little, the person starts to avoid these moments. I will pray later. I will meditate later. Tomorrow I will go back to seeking. And thus, time passes, and the spirit grows cold. This is the strategy, not to block at once, but to undermine little by little. The chosen one needs to be alert, because the greater the calling, the greater the resistance. This is not punishment, it is confirmation. The war that rises when you seek God is a sign that heaven hears you and hell is disturbed. And therefore, you cannot stop. It is also important to declare protection. Before praying, say out loud, "Nothing will keep me from connecting with heaven." This simple attitude already opens a spiritual field of defense. The chosen ones cannot surrender to distractions. They were called to wage war in prayer, even when everything seems to conspire against them. The more you persist, the stronger you become. The interferences will continue for a while, but they lose strength when you remain firm. It is like a fight. The enemy tries to tire you, But when he sees that you do not retreat, he withdraws. Your persistence in seeking is a powerful spiritual blow. Therefore, do not be discouraged. If every time you go to pray something gets in the way, it is because the prayer is bothering the kingdom of darkness. If every time you try to study the word, sleep comes, it is because that word will transform something. Recognize the war and fight with wisdom. And if you experience this kind of interference, do not blame yourself. Rise up. Because this is also one of the clearest signs that you were set apart, chosen, and called to live something great in the spiritual. If you identified with these signs, know this: it is not exaggeration, weakness, or madness. It is spiritual sensitivity. It is your soul responding to the call of something greater. The chosen ones are not those who live without conflicts, but those who feel more, see more, and can no longer ignore what the world pretends not to see. Everything you feel, perceive, and overthink has a purpose. God is awakening you to a unique mission, and these signs are just the beginning. Your sensitivity is a tool, not a flaw. It is through it that you will heal, teach, transform, and guide others. Now I want to know from you, how many of these signs have you already felt? Comment below and share your experience. Your comment may be the confirmation that someone else needs to understand that they are not alone. Let's create a space of exchange, support, and spiritual awakening here in the comments. You are welcome here. You are light, you are chosen, and the world needs exactly what you carry.